Good morning, everybody. This is Thursday morning, and I wanted to do a little update. Let's see if you could see. Okay, that was the ceiling I had that was collapsing. I had a leak I redid my roof a few times, but I made a loft out of it. It looks pretty good, and maybe we'll do a little update and a little lesson. But I had to tear all of that insulation, everything down, and I had redone this roof a few times. It's kind of a flat roof. It was already here when I bought this house. Never built a flat roof. But it was interesting because I did it with the brush and all, no big thing. I used to be a painter, and the first day I started on it, I figured I was going to buy a spray gun, but then I thought I'll just brush it. And normally you don't brush, you normally use rollers if you can. I pulled a lot of nails out, but the ones holding the roof in, of course, I didn't pull those out. But I made a sign, I don't even know if you'll see it. It's called the Loft. I don't know why I made that sign. I made it maybe a year ago, and I kept thinking, oh, I'd like to have like something that looks like a loft. I had that sign made already. And then when I was done fixing this little section, I thought, oh, that's the loft. It kind of looks like a loft. Sometimes you will, God says He shows you things before they come to pass. And sometimes you even, out of obedience, prepare for what's going to come. Now, maybe this will be a teaching video, though it could also just be an update. I wanted to possibly teach with my friend Crow today because it's Thursday. And he's been going through various Bible studies and something that's very interesting, and I've really not shared it with him, but I wanted to comment on it. Crow has been, when I first met Crow, maybe a couple years ago, I remember one of my other friends said, you know, Crow, he's wanting to rent like one of the old churches, John, and maybe use it to help you in the ministry or to help the other street ministries. And I said, oh, I didn't know that. And but he was thinking at one time of renting something. And it showed me that he wants to do something in the kingdom. He wants to serve the Lord. And as I do my prayer time over long periods of time, over years, there are images in Scripture that I incorporate as I see the community. And one of those things would be Jesus in the parables talks about a tower. There's a vineyard. There's a wine press. There's a tower. And all of those things I kind of built. I have a few little windmills in my yard. Just the, I restored that one. It was broken by my daughter's house. Somebody was throwing that out. And I took it here and fixed it and put a pole on it. And there's another one back there. And so, over time, one of the images of prayer that I have, when I had this prayer yard and all, is these wind fans going, the memory of my friends who died. I even have like a little stone for pops. My friends who passed away, I have granite that I built over the years. And one of the spiritual images of the community has got that in it, like windmills, gravestones, friends, the family in heaven and earth. Okay, so Crow was asking me for advice this last week, and he comes up with different ideas, things that he wants to do in ministry. And I know that God's calling him to do things, because yesterday he said, you know, John, he asked me for advice about he wants to start a particular thing to benefit the ministries in Flower Bluff that help the homeless. And Crow's smart, and he researches stuff. And as he's talking to me about it, of course, his girlfriend Claire, who's a friend of mine, sometimes she'll maybe disagree with Crow, And to him, that's a hindrance because he wants to kind of move on in ministry and do it with Claire or without Claire if he has to. And I found it interesting that some of the relationship problems that my friends have, when they're having them over, I'm going to do this for God. No, you can't do that for God. It shows me that they're seeking God. They're not fighting over other types of things. People do in general, but over ministry. Okay. And then yesterday, the other day, Crow was excited about the vision, and I'll share that in a second. And then yesterday, he was like, you know, John, I was thinking after I talked to you about the idea I have in ministry, he said, then I thought to myself, you know what, maybe I'll just, like Abraham gave up Isaac. And look, a lot of ministers go through that stage. Maybe I will give up my vision, John, that God's called me to. Then he explained that for a few hours that day, he said, okay, God, this is what I think you want me to do, but I lay it down. And he said, you know, John, I felt so relieved. See, I know God's calling him to do ministry because you go through that stage. Like, okay, you know, like, I'm not going to do it. And then all of a sudden the weight's lifted. Whatever it is God's calling you to do. He said, and then I thought about it for a few hours. And he said, then I thought, oh, the only reason I feel relieved right now is because I gave up that vision I wanted to do for God. And then maybe I can, you know, slip up a little bit. He said, then I realized that was the devil. And then I had to go back to claim the vision. So that process, though, shows me, yes, people go through it. Now, listen to the ministry idea that Crow has. And I haven't even shared what I just shared with you, with the fans and the gravestones and the spiritual community. He researched and he wants to purchase a lot, a piece of property. Then he wants to put a wind generator that generates electric. Here in Texas, Crow researched it, and if you establish your own wind generator that makes electric, the power companies are required by law to purchase your electric if you're producing power. That's what Crow had City researched. And he'd like to have a field, if you will, a property with a windmill on it. And you know what he wants to do? He wants to create a memorial cemetery, like a potter's field, for the homeless who have died, which is really the image of my spiritual community that I explained 5 minutes ago. And that it could generate money, and then he could give that money to the homeless ministries. But the image that came to him over a period of months praying, and what do you want me to do? He doesn't realize it's the exact spiritual image of what I have also seen. Praying, windmills, memory stones, and some of that I have actually done. Not for money, that is, but just in a spiritual community sense. And I just found that interesting. And so I try to encourage him, you know. And hopefully later today we'll do some teaching. Maybe me and Crow. It's raining today. As I build the various, I just posted a lot of the King's study, King's 9 or whatever. A lot of websites, a lot of video sites. And it's interesting. I don't want to go off on my battles with various social media. You know, on Facebook, the last week, I'll look at whoever tries to friend me. And there are times in the past where I just don't look at any of that. But I try to be perceptive. So the last week, I just accept whoever would friend me, if it looks legitimate. And I had about maybe 5 friends requests from girls that names I don't know, so I'll look, is it legitimate? They're basically 5 or 6 girls that are just porn sites. Now, John, did you link to their, no I didn't, okay? I didn't link to their porn sites. But this is a Facebook friends request. They had so many followers or whatever. And it's just porn. It says, go to my other side here and you can see this and that and that. And all it is, you can read like the 10 things on it. And even one guy wrote on one of the girls' sites, "Repent, you're going to go to hell for this," whoever, commented. I don't condemn those girls, and I almost felt like saying, a lot of these things are scams, but they were just porn sites. And they had Facebook pages, and then you could go to whatever, their Tumblr, it says a link, and you could see it all here, and we can meet, and we'll do this. And I don't condemn any of those girls. It's they're seeking for stuff. They're in the business. It takes advantage of them. But I just find it funny because even as I posted my links or my things earlier, my Facebook will not post from one of my other Christian websites when I go to share to Facebook. All the others post, but somebody made a complaint, and my Christian post that I just posted, Kings 9, is considered hate speech by the social media environment because somebody reported something politically they didn't like, I guess, and so every one of my posts, but yet they have all types of other things on Facebook and these sites. And then I have a lot of video upload sites, and some are unreliable, so I learned over time you can use them, but they're not reliable when you upload videos to those sites. Sometimes they upload, sometimes they don't. But then I went back to Vimeo, another site who deleted everything, banned me at one time because of all of the social media craze is, look, we all banned whoever, Alex Jones Infowars, then YouTube banned him, Twitter banned him, then Vimeo, just to get publicity. We deleted all of his videos. But when you deleted all my videos in the past, I'm on your free plan right now, Vimeo, and I didn't try and sneak in because I had various login from Google. I just noticed one day, it uploaded. And now every time I'm on the free plan, it says, pay, upload. I have no problem paying for Vimeo. I paid in the past. But the unreliability, and this maybe would be a benefit, what causes me to hesitate to go back to that service? The fact that my experience in the past with that service was it was unreliable. It functions well. Some video sites, upload sites, pCloud and Flickr and all, they're unreliable because you go to uploads, one night it'll work, next night you upload, okay. So then you learn to avoid those, use them as a backup. Vimeo works great. The unreliability in my mind is you can be on there for 5 years, post your whole Romans, Hebrews studies with years of work, and then on a whim they might say, we decided to delete everything. And in Scripture, it says when you send a servant and he's not fulfilling the mission, you send him on mission, it's like, the cold and there's some proverb about it. And so that just created a tremendous, in my mind, I can't use them. As much as the service itself would work well, it's the people that are making decisions on social media, if you will, to ban my Christian posts that I tried to share to Facebook on that one site, share, but yet you have massive porn sites friending me day and night, because that's like the last 5-7 requests, just porn girls, just come here, come. And you, okay, so this would be like an update. I think it was interesting. I could have taught some more of some of the things I'm studying, but I just wanted to express that. When you're building in the kingdom, it's work. And from my friend Crow's example, when you begin to get a vision, and Crow was telling me, John, it was like the devil's trying to steal the vision right before its birth. Look, that's true. There's all types of scriptures I can quote on that. That when God's calling you to a mission, and then you grasp hold of whatever that purpose is, and then yes, the enemy wants to come in and stop it at the incipient stage. If we can, the devil wants to stop it right away. But what you do is you prevail, and you work through that. And it was just, I'm doing a lot of my different websites right now. That's one thing that even if you're providing a service, if you're unreliable, then remember the controversy we had over the last few years with particular cell phones that had locks on them. I don't have locks, but people that say phone companies, iPhone or whatever, and then they said, oh, it was linked to some crime, some terrorists, we want to break into the phone, and then would that company, whoever it was, Samsung or whatever, Sony, will they let the FBI break into the phone? The reason that those companies didn't want to bypass their, password and locking and all, the purpose for that, it should not be used for criminal activity, okay? But the purpose is people want to feel, okay, well, I got something that, hackers can't hack into the phone. And then if that company says, we're providing you a phone where it's going to be, people can't hack it. And then all of a sudden, if under certain circumstances, they say, okay, well, we're going to allow that phone to be hacked, if you will, or to bypass the password or whatever, then everybody that's buying those phones for security, not for legal purposes, they realize, oh, what security is that? And it's the same thing with doing all these websites. You might have a good service, you might have a good, but if on a whim you say, you know what, we deleted all your 2 years of videos, or no matter how many times now they send me that ad, like each time I'm going to these sites, the man says, why don't you upgrade? And I don't have a problem paying. It's just I did that in the past. I paid, put 200 videos or whatever, and then one day you said, we deleted everything. And I guess maybe they looked into my various websites because I got all those links, and they probably thought, oh, okay, he's pretty active, and maybe it would be beneficial for them, Vimeo, to add me on because I share so many links and so many websites. But you have proven yourselves to be totally unreliable. So, all right, that's a little update. I found those things interesting. There's always things going on in the community where I'm at. Some things of violence that happen. People have rumors about someone did this or someone did that. So what we pray for the peace of God to come, all right? This is the morning update. The news is always going to be the same, all right? I pray blessing on you guys, and that whatever God's calling you to do. Remember that little loft sign, which I don't think you could see. But God will maybe give you instructions even before the project begins, before the project is even engaged in. He can give you an instruction. And so that's why being faithful and obedient is important. Because then when you get to the project, you say, oh, I had to make this preparation ahead of time. I didn't know why I even painted that little sign called the loft. I just said, oh, and then when I redid that thing, I said, oh yeah, that fits that. Okay, so be attentive to that. The Lord in Isaiah says, God says, remember not the former things, neither consider the things of old. For behold, I do a new thing. Shall you know it? Now it shall spring forth. Shall you know? Behold, I do a new thing. Shall you know it? Now it will spring forth. I'm making the way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Okay? So be attentive today. God bless everybody.